if you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Acknowledge me.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
We are bad to the bone. Get it? Bad to the bone.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'll fight anybody. Who do you want? Just let me fight him.
Let me tell you something, Jim Ross.
Mega power, yeah. We got it for you.
We are the best of the best.
Woo! Wheeling dealing. Smart marks.
And that's the bottom line, cause Stone Cold said so.
Yo, welcome back to another episode of Talk 'em in the Building, a pro wrestling podcast that puts the focus on the promo. We talk about the talkers, we hype the hype man, and of course we have to pontificate upon the promo. I'm Adrian. You already know it's no BS coming from me. I'm joined by the brothers, as always, out west celebrating, moving on into the MLB playoffs. We got out of league. What's up, bro?
Yes, man, off the heels. Salute to Philly for making it a series down there.
There we go. And here in the great state of Georgia, representing my Georgia Bulldogs. Normally I wear it, but I wanted to wear my Macho Man shirt. So we got Greg. What's happening, bro? How you living?
Yo, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm a little jealous about this LA moving on, but it's never bad to see the Phillies fall to the side. So
there we go. I think we can all agree, the hell with Philly. That's what we can say. All right. Well, today's episode, y'all, we got our Dusty review. I have a promo or segment that I think deserves to be reviewed, and we break it down, and we ultimately decide, did it talk you into the building? And we're going to rate it on our scale from 1 to 5 Dusties. So 1, horrible promo, may we never see it ever again, to 5, which is a must-see television event, and all of that good stuff. So if this is your first time checking us out, thank you for giving us the opportunity. Check our backlogs out, intothebuilding.com. We have plenty of Dusty reviews. We have full episodes where we talk about the past, the present, hell, the future of pro wrestling. We have a lot of good conversations. We're 3 lifelong pro wrestling fans that are brought together by this lovely thing called the promo. So, gentlemen, before we get into this Dusty review, I got something. I'm one in tune with the IWC, and these kind of conversations always spark a little conversation amongst us, which I definitely enjoy, because we're not all like in agreement on everything. That's perfect for me, because that's the beauty of a conversation. But it just so happened that the Nielsen ratings have made an adjustment. I don't know how familiar you guys have been with the moves or whatnot when it comes to the Nielsen ratings, but I saw a YouTube video made by Nielsen that it properly explained how the new setup and the new dynamic is, which is taking into account streaming, or as much as they possibly can, to try to provide a more accurate rating for television. Obviously, Nielsen mainly used for advertising and all that stuff, but in terms of pro wrestling, this is something that has been brought up for decades in our world, especially once WWE had competition and AEW. Before that, TNA. It was always conversations about ratings. Now, this past week, we just had the unique opportunity to have NXT face off against AEW. AEW had to be moved back a day to Tuesday, which is already going against them, because whenever, we all know, once you change from your normal day, that's already an issue for you, or a complication. But ratings came out, and it looks like NXT wiped the floor with them. And that's with the new rating system. And they practically doubled what AEW did. And the reason why I'm bringing that is not to hang anything on AEW because, like I said, you move a day. That's all. You're already playing from behind there.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason why I'm bringing that is a unique point that was brought up. Warner Brothers Discovery announced prior to the ratings coming out, saying essentially that they're not going to disclose their numbers from HBO Max to Nielsen. And that's their choice, but that's what they're choosing to do. So now it's going to still be that gray area where those of us who listen to Dave Meltzer, obviously HBO Max numbers are not included, which means it's obviously 100 million people subscribed and watching through Max. But all that to say, obviously AEW didn't put out the best number. It was one of their lowest numbers. But I'm asking you guys because I respect both of you all's opinion. I want to go to you first, Greg, though. Do ratings even matter at this point when it comes to pro wrestling?
Ratings in the terms of traditional Nielsen ratings, they matter, but nothing like they used to. Ratings as a whole, yes. And when I say
Okay.
ratings as a whole, I'm looking at social media impressions.
Right.
I'm looking at streaming on YouTube, not just the shorts, but I'm talking about like even the longer promos and stuff like that on YouTube, through multiple channels and things like that. Because the way people consume content now is just different.
Right. Very
I
much
mean,
so.
you have YouTube TVs, you got Sling, you got, I mean, now you have this new ESPN app. I mean, all these different ways of watching whatever, and it's so convoluted. It's not just I turn on ABC or I turn on USA Network or Nitro back in the day. So yeah, it means something because it has to give you a gauge of how are we doing something right, right? It's kind of like it's just any other business. Like you have to know what your attendance looks like, and that's your attendance, weekly. But it's just different, and it tells a story. But it's like any other number, any other stat in any sport, any business, anything. Numbers tell a story, but they don't tell the whole story.
That's a good point. That's a very good point because normally in my conversations online, when it comes to something like ratings or, attendance,
Mm,
I'm adamant that those two variables or those two statistics still matter like
mm-hmm,
tremendously because we're all adults at this point and
Yeah.
I get the fan aspect of I'm just here. I want to enjoy the show. As long as I was entertained, cool, that sort of thing. And I hear you. But I think once it gets to a point where you're an adult, you actually understand like this is a business. This is something that
Mhm.
we want to see in the future. And what's going to drive that to being around in the future is it being a successful business. And in my conversations, my comparison, I'm a restaurant guy. I always use the simple comparison of you go into a place that makes the best damn grilled cheese sandwich you've ever had in your life. Like it's life changing. You go in there every Tuesday, but every Tuesday it's only you in there.
mm-hmm.
Mm.
How long is that going to sustain? How long will you be able to say, I can go into that shop and get that best damn grilled cheese sandwich? So, I mean, it's a bit of an extreme, and that's not me saying it's only three of us watching AEW or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. That's just making that comparison of, hey, this is a business, and most businesses want to see growth. We want to see something. Now, if Tony just flats out walks out in a press conference or a scrum, that's what they call it. He walks out in scrum and say, you know what? This isn't a business venture. This is a passion project. I'm just here for the vibes. Then any of that argument of that stuff is
Yeah.
just a waste of time, right? But it's a business. If Triple H comes out and just flats out say, you know what, I don't care how many of you guys watch Monday Night Raw. I don't care how many of you guys buy tickets to this next Monday Night Raw because I'm just here for the graps. That's all I'm here for, man. Screw it. Then the argument goes to the side. So Ali, I want to know, what are your thoughts when it comes to that whole that debate between a lot of the IWC, the WWE versus AEW ratings and attendance, which is more so being pushed by those who watch WWE at this point.
Right. Kind of to that end, we've seen this evolution of pro wrestling, right? At its height, when the ratings, people would be desperate for the ratings of TNA from 15 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's apples and oranges to compare when people compare decades or, the popularity of TV shows. I'm a big movie buff over the years, so I was box office numbers are that's my jam.
Right.
And I would meet people in college who were interning at places where the movie was it was midday in LA and they already know how the movie is going to do for the weekend. I was how, what? Because they have the formulas and everything and that the numbers. So there is this piece as a spectator, I think, as wrestling fan, as TV watchers, as enthusiasts, let's just call it what it is, right?
Right.
Where it is cool to be kind of part of the process and contribute to that popularity. And like Adrian said, right, you want to see the things you like, or at least the sport that you like here, do well, right, for the good of the business. But to Greg's end, I don't think we're in that area now. It's clearly evident we're not privy to so much internal data that they're basing advertising on. They're basing contracts and renewals and the money behind it. I do know that they still value that all these networks, apps, all these conglomerates still value live TV, right? That's not replicable. This is why Dancing with the Stars does well. This is why all the dating shows that have appointment watching, right, with the voting, that's by design.
Right.
That's not just a gimmick, because it keeps engagement minute to minute. And that is the bread and butter of pro wrestling. Yes, we do live in an era where everything's posted on YouTube. Even AEW went back to shorter clips. Remember, they used to post full segments, just like WWE. I think there is something to pro wrestling that is still somewhat of appointment watching, that is different from other forms of TV. So it's hard as a wrestling fan to kind of just let go of that, right? Because Nielsen ratings are just ingrained into oh, how well did it do? I think I learned more about Nielsen ratings for wrestling than I did from anything else before I knew what TV was.
100%.
But that's not the case anymore. And Nielsen ratings have been criticized for not just recently. It's been 10 years now that it's been like this. So I think there's this spectator piece on it, and then there's the fan piece where we're trying to figure out what this means for us ultimately. But unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to know the full scope ever again, because they're going to hold this data close to the vest, right? Netflix isn't going to tell you WWE's numbers apparently, so why would WBD?
That's
Well,
true.
what's interesting about that is I am curious why they hold those numbers. I mean, they're giving them to somebody.
Yes.
Because Snickers or whoever's not going to advertise unless you have some type of idea of what this impression is, right? And then if we truly get really down into the business side of it, it's not just how many people show up. Going back to the restaurant business, or I used to work in the theater, it's a per capita.
Right.
And it's if 1 million people watch and 100,000 of them buy a T-shirt, cool.
Right.
I'd rather have 100,000 people buy a T-shirt and 1 million watch than 2 million watch and 10,000 buy a T-shirt.
Right.
If we really want to jump back, if you go back to TNA early when they hit Spike, and they had approximately 1.5, 2 million people watching at one point, they had a nice crowd. But if you ever listen to Jeff Jarrett talk about the buys on a pay-per-view, he goes, it didn't translate. 10,000 buys. Where WWE got 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 buys on stuff. And it's you have to have that translation. So it's not just about the numbers. The numbers are great for the network. And yes, they're making money off the network. Let's don't get it twisted.
For sure.
But when you're AEW, WWE, whomever, NFL, whatever, I need to sell jerseys. I need to sell T-shirts. I need to sell tickets to the live events. Tickets to live events are huge revenue drivers now. We're seeing those prices shoot up. And while everybody's complaining, They're selling.
Yeah.
And you know why they're selling? Because Beyonce costs more. Taylor Swift costs more. So don't get it twisted when people go, "Oh my God, they're so expensive." They are. But you know what? I've seen you and your 4 girlfriends go to Beyonce for a
Yep.
Cowboy Carter
Nobody
track
bat an eye
thing
there.
that you didn't care nothing about that album. You just wanted to go spend $500 a person and then another 300 on the outfit and all this other stuff. Do you?
Yep.
Don't get mad at us when we do us. You know what I mean? But it's like
Fair.
there's so many other measurements that go into this success now.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, it was exactly what we're here for. Talk them into the building. It's the ticket sales. But now those ratings, y'all, it's like you have your live ratings, you have your what they call it within 24 hours, your 48
Right.
hours, and your 7 day. They have all these different things. When do people watch it? Do they watch it on record? Do they watch it on their DVR? All of it's valuable.
Mm-hmm.
And now you look at these impressions. I mean, when they talk about Logan Paul posts something, there's millions of impressions.
It's insane.
That brings his worth right there. So it's like it's the same thing. It's not just WWE, AEW, same thing, right? When they have certain impressions or they have that all that controversial stuff with Moxley or when Swerve and
Right.
them were doing that crazy stuff, it hit all these impressions. So while we may not, I'll personally say it wasn't my cup of tea, it did business for them based on those impressions. So ratings are just so much bigger than Nielsen.
Yeah.
And I have a question for y'all about Nielsen ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Did y'all ever know anybody that had a Nielsen box?
Yes.
I did not. You did.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You did, okay.
The same guy who introduced me to that fact. So back in high school, I want to say it was freshman year. Freshman year, we had a teacher. His name was Mr. Mansour, and it's hilarious now that I'm even thinking about it. He was the guy who introduced me and my friends to the Wrestling Observer, the newsletter, because he would always get it, and when he was done, he would give it to us. So that was our first introduction, in ninth grade about ratings and attendance and all of that stuff. And if you saw this guy, he's like a Dave Meltzer doppelganger. He was an older white guy, kind of jacked. Like he would work out. He worked out every night or every after school or whatnot in our gym. Always would wear the short sleeve button up shirts because he had his biceps going.
Mm-hmm.
Would dye his hair. And it's like he's Dave Meltzer. Like it's crazy. I'm just saying it, thinking about it. But yeah, he definitely had one, and he explained it to us and everything. That's it. And that's what made us even more in tune with Nielsen ratings and all of that stuff. Like, man, that's pretty interesting, and da 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 da, like that. Like that's been in the conversation with a lot of us in the wrestling fan space for damn near 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it's crazy, man.
And what's wild, sorry, I mean, I'm going down another rabbit hole.
No, yeah.
When people talk about the Monday Night Wars during the Nitro era, and they talked about how Nitro was competitive from day one.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't realize, if you really go back, WCW Saturday Night was competitive. If you go pull their ratings, at one point they had really, really good ratings too.
On a Saturday, no less.
On a Saturday at 6:05 p.m. So it's like it's crazy. It goes back to what you said. It's that must see TV. It wasn't live at the time, but it was inexpensive, must see episodic television.
Yeah.
And in wrestling, even when it's been down, it's brought good ratings. So across the board, it brings good ratings.
And
the problem has been sometimes we as wrestling fans do not translate into income. And that has happened. I know when it came here to Atlanta, and I think Adrian, I think you probably in the restaurant business at the time, what I had always heard is that the wrestling fans as a whole do not go to the nicer restaurants. They don't spend the money on the food. They don't spend the money on the drinks.
Yep.
But guess what has happened now? Now they do.
Oh
because
yeah.
now you've raised that price.
It's a
Which meant
different
you're bringing in
clientele.
different clientele
That's true.
You're bringing a different thought process that when I show up to Vegas and I'm already spending $1,000 on a ticket and another $1,500 on a hotel, I'm ready to go eat. I'm ready to go drink. I'm ready to go spend more money and put more money into this economy. It is what it is.
That's a very
You
good
took
point.
the words out of my mouth. I was going to say wrestling fans for advertisers were seen as low rent.
Yeah.
They were not worth the time. I mean, you go back to those, like the Attitude Era, you look at those commercials, you look at what the sponsors were. Brother, when WWE got Skittles, which not that long ago, it was a revelation for the IWC. It was like, we made it. Skittles can sponsor us, right? But now you're right. It's a different clientele. It's a clientele that's ready to spend on a higher level, right? Like, I mean, I was
Premium
just
vodka. Wheatley's
premium vodka, right? Exactly. And you look at the numbers. I mean, median. This is 2023. I'm pulling numbers. Median income for Dynamite was like $60,000 for Watcher. Median income for Raw was 54,000. These are 2-year-old numbers, right? But now we're talking about, like this is, it's 2025, so your dollar doesn't go as far. But you're right. It's a different world. And I think as wrestling fans, you kind of have to adapt to that to realize, for me, my question is, how does that influence the product? Right?
That's a good point. But listeners, let us know in the comments. What do you think? Do you think that ratings still matter? And with this increase of ticket prices and all this stuff, we're saying that WWE and TKO is getting a higher class, per se, of spending class into the building. How does that make you feel? Let us know. Let us know in the comments. We're interested to know, or interested to read your comments and respond appropriately as I try to. All right, gentlemen, we have our review. This comes from Monday Night Raw. This comes from a character that I think was in high need of a character change, character shift. And I don't know, I'm kind of intrigued with what they got going on with her.
Make the match! Make the match!
Hold on.
Tonight.
Calm down. If we're talking about Crown Jewel, the match is official. Are you talking about tonight?
So you got there tonight.
Oh, you want Io and Kyrie tonight? Okay, if so, I need to talk to Io because Rhea's already down
Adam
under doing
Pearce has
press.
been so good.
I gotta find if there's space in the show. You talk to Io. If she wants the match, then I will come back and let you know it's official. Does that work?
So you got there. Make the match tonight.
Yeah. I need a drink.
What? We're gonna teach Io and Rhea respect at Crown Jewel. But tonight, you face your spy. No, I don't want to fight Io 1-1 because I know I can still bring her back into our family. 何を言うたんだじゃこれ！ちゃんとやれバカ！ちゃんとやれ She's the family! The match is happening! わかったか？わかったか？はい。Understand. Oh, go. Good. Better win. You better win.
We got Asuka. We got a newly heel, embracing her heel energy, Asuka. We have our cute, sympathetic Kyrie Sane. And we got an Adam Pearce who's just fed up at the job and he needs another drink to even deal with the madness here. So let's talk about it, fellas. Adelie, what are your initial thoughts on this character change for Asuka?
I think they're leaning into something fun that, we always talk about the language barrier, right? Mm-hmm. And we can see past the language barrier when you can tell talent is just going with it, having fun, and not just embracing almost this familial role, right? Because they've been a tag team before. That's not really a difference, right? They've been part of the group. But this angle of I'm gonna make you see my way, right? I am the den mother of sorts. I am the tiger mom, right? Because
Right.
I grew up with plenty of friends who definitely had that mom, and she was gonna make you do things and make you work for it. But Kyrie is just amazing. She's hilarious in this role. Because if you remember, she came back super jacked, so she's like not this tiny person anymore.
Right.
To see her kind of cower and play that role is really interesting. It has legs, which is more than I can say for most things they've done in the past, because they came in and Asuka was like the badass, right? We get that, and then Kyrie, you know, when she came back in the second run, she's still like the pirate and everything, but it's a different vibe. It's fresh. It's something fresh, right, for the fans.
Right.
And as far as Adam Pearce, I mean, the dude just knocking out of the park every time. I mean, honestly, this dude went from somewhat vanilla, and this is from a dude that was like
Super
NWA
vanilla.
champ,
Yeah.
amazing like career in the ring. And when they signed him, I was like, oh, is he just gonna be like, you know, one and done? He'll be gone in like a couple 3 months. And no, he has staying power. He knows his role. He's not going too much over. He gives you that comedy relief, but he powdered out. And the star of the segment was really the ladies, right? But I'm curious to see what develops beyond just the, you know, this comedy bit, because that can also have its limited shelf life.
Yeah, I meant to talk about Pierce briefly. Honestly, when they brought on Aldis and Pierce, I always thought Aldis was just gonna, you know,
Oh, really? You thought the other way?
I meant
Okay.
basically be the man when it comes to leadership. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I like Nick Aldis as a wrestler. I love Nick Aldis as a wrestler in WA days, TNA, obviously, and all of that stuff. But Adam Pearce has really found his straight man personality that mixes so well with all of those different personalities. It's like you see him, not to make this about Adam Pearce, but you see him standing up to a LA Knight this past Monday Night Raw. Like, this isn't your show. This is my show. I'm the GM. Like, standing his ground. But you also see him, you know, basically catering to Asuka because she looks insane. Like, this is a great balance. Like, compare this Adam Pearce to all of the or not all of them, but the GMs the past
I would say
decade,
most of
15
them,
years.
man.
You
Most
know,
of them, yeah.
most of them were forgettable. Most of them, like, after a couple weeks, we're like, okay, all right, Teddy, like, we love you, but I like this personality of Adam Pearce. I like how that works in that leadership role, because he's working with all these crazy personalities backstage in WWE. But Greg, I want to know your opinion on the acting job that Kairi Sane gave.
I think she's getting it better. So
Okay.
I think it's been forced, and she's
Okay.
not comfortable in the role.
Yeah.
I know you didn't ask about Asuka. I think Asuka's in. She's bought in. She's like, here we go.
Absolutely.
And I think that slap woke up Kairi Sane. So I think this was one of her better ones, to be honest, because everything else has felt very forced. This didn't feel as forced as the last few weeks.
I like that, because I agree with you. Honestly, EO's character or promo during this situation has kind of been like, if she was in this, I would probably have crapped all over this just because of her acting ability. Even though I love EO, Let me say that. I like what Kyrie brought to it. Like, it's that innocence of I'm still trying to keep this family together. She's like a kid that sees mommy and daddy fighting in the other room, and she's like, "Oh my God, my family's about to blow up. Who am I? Will I lose my dad forever? Will I lose my mom forever?" Like, it's that kind of, that was what that was evoking. I don't know if I'm projecting as a child of divorce. I don't know, but I don't know. That I like the acting that she provided. That slap was very, that brought it up.
Legit.
You know, that
Legit.
brought it up. That got our attention.
Yes, it did.
Even the people in the crowd, you could hear that reaction. Like they were like, "Oh, we were just expecting like a little standard backstage
little
segment
cute thing." Yeah.
Mhm.
And I love how Asuka brought it together by saying, "You better win too."
Yes.
after I slapped the taste out your mouth, you better win though.
You better
Like
not
you
come
better
home.
win. Yeah, you better win. You better come home with the win. So let's go ahead and get it.
So,
Let's
can I
go
throw
ahead.
one more thing in there
Yeah,
real
yeah,
quick?
please, yeah.
So one of the things I love about this whole program
Mhm.
is they're giving it time.
Mm-hmm.
This is something they could have pulled quick, and under previous regime, I think they
Yeah.
do. And just because of the patience of the language barrier and stuff like that. And I love the fact that Asuka mixed English with Japanese. Because if you've ever been around anybody who speaks another language, doesn't matter what it is, they get pissed, you'll hear both languages come out.
Guilty.
Yes.
So just saying. And it's like, and normally I've been around females, to be quite honest with you, but it's like they will, mix what we call it Spanglish, right? It's a lot
Right.
of times you hear that, you'll hear that. I've heard that. I've heard Hindu mixed with English and other stuff, right? Because then they get pissed, just they go down a certain route, then they bring it back, then it goes back, and it goes back, and it's like that's the realism that I love about this, and I like the fact that they embrace it. Because under previous regime, and I'm not saying this is actually wrong based on the timing.
Right.
So I'm not saying VKM was totally wrong in this. We weren't always ready for the accents or the language barrier, right? We always had somebody when we had that in the past, Muta or whoever. We had Gary Hart, and we had Paul Heyman, or we had a talker for them because we weren't always ready for it. I think society's changed and we're well behind the times on it.
Right.
But now embracing it the way they've embraced it, not just with these two, but with others as well, and mixing that in, I think brings a comfortability to, and you start to see it with Asuka, and I think it's taking time for Io and Kyrie to get to that point,
And it's
and Shinsuke,
bonus.
to be quite honest.
And it's bonus points because there were no subtitles when she spoke the foreign
That's
language.
what I was saying. Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
heard her speaking, but we had an idea of what she was saying. So I think one wrestler that I can think of that has maneuvered that very well, or to the best of his ability, was Rey Mysterio. Like he would have these promos where he's speaking Spanish, but then he'll follow it up with English to bring it together so you're understanding what's going on. So I think it was a lot more organic backstage where it could have been under other, reigns or whatnot. It would have been less organic. It would have been some subtitles that would have kind of taken you out of it. Like, plus wrestling fans aren't that educated, so they would have to take forever to read subtitles. So, per Dave Meltzer. But yeah, so I enjoyed it. Let's go ahead and get into the ratings because I want to save time for the main pod. Y'all check us out, intothebuilding.com. We release Tuesdays and Saturdays. Saturday today is going to be your shorter episode, which is normally reserved for a Dusty review like so. And Tuesdays, longer form conversation. I know you guys are looking forward to Tuesday's episode. So Adeline, I want to know on a scale to 1 to 5, how many Dusties are you giving this segment? And did it talk you into the building for Crown Jewel, which should be happening right now while this is premiering on YouTube?
I'll give it a 3.5 Dusties.
Nice.
Just straight up. I was leaning more to 3. I'll give it the half here. Only because it was fun. It felt harmless. It didn't take away from anything. And again, everybody played their role well. it makes me curious about, again, with this language barrier, how much they can keep embracing the English, because I know they're working on their English on their own, right? Um, and I appreciate that mention that you said it's without the subtitles. Like let people work a little harder to just see the characters, see the people, right, that are playing these characters for who they are,
For sure.
and let's grow organically, right? So I'm looking forward to not necessarily Crown Jewel per se, but what develops for these two, and by extension, their relationship with Io long term.
Nice. Greg, how many Dussies?
It's funny you said 3.5. I was going to go 3.5 as well, but the main thing I was at 3 until the slap, and that almost took me to 4. So I'm saying that slap to me was the perfect ending, and honestly,
Yeah.
Adam Pearce was the perfect beginning. So I think that part right there, giving it 3.5 because I think there's some growth that can still happen.
Mm-hmm.
But does it make me intrigued to see where we go with this? 100%. Does it further the storyline for me? Yes. Does it talk me into wanting to see the match? I'm not gonna say I want to see the match more so than I just want to see the story, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
That's
'Cause
fair.
I
That's
don't really
perfect.
care
Yeah.
about Rhea,
Agreed.
to be honest. In this storyline, I
Okay.
could care less about Rhea, which is a good thing because Rhea's been such a focal point, and so I'm
Oh,
actually
wow.
really curious to see where we go with Io.
Okay. I'm interested. I mean, we'll have to save that for another podcast, but I am interested to hear your thoughts about that because I think Rhea's a perfect vehicle for what's going to go down Saturday
Mm-hmm.
with the Io. I think this is setting up a Io heel turn. I think Io's going to turn, and that's why I'm giving this 4 Dussies because of the intrigue. It's a well-produced segment. Adam Pearce played his role. It was comedic, but at the same point, he got out of the way and let the two main players get going with their character. Asuka's fully committed to her, bully. I'm the big mama. Y'all are gonna listen to me attitude. And Kyrie's very committed as essentially the child trying to the shivering child that's trying to keep their family together and scared for the future. And we didn't get Io, so that's a whole intrigue there because technically speaking, within this whole storyline, she's the main cog, and for that reason, spoiler alert, I think Io's going to turn in Australia. I think she's going to turn. I think Io is valuing family just as much as Kyrie, and I think that she's going to turn. But that's my opinion. I'm giving it 4 Dussies. Y'all, let us know in the comments. Did we get it right? Did we get it wrong? Did you enjoy that segment as much as we did? Because all 3 of us, we enjoyed it for the most part. But y'all let us know in the comments what you think. Check the backlog intothebuilding.com. That will bring you to past episodes, past shorts, all of that cool conversations about pro wrestling, promos, all of that good stuff. I'm Adrian. That's Out of Lead. That's Greg. Y'all enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Crown Jewel if you watch. If you don't, enjoy college football Saturday like I will. Go Dogs. Beat Auburn. All right, y'all have a great week. We'll see you Tuesday. Peace.
You don't know what